Hi everybody, welcome back to another business analysis video. Yay! In today's video, I'll be talking to you about the differences between working as a permanent employee and a contractor. Now, there are a lot of preparation you need to do before you start working as a contractor. You need to set up a company because you're technically self-employed. So you could set up a limited company or an umbrella company depending on the type of contractor you want to be. Now, these depend on whether the contract you're assigned is within IR35 or outside IR35. Now, this is a whole other topic which we can cover if you're interested. Let me know in the comments down below. So with contracting, generally the agency is working as a representative between their clients and you as the contractor. So they will engage with you to perform work for their client. The agency client will then pay them, and the agent will then pay the contractor for the work. But the contractor does not work for the agency. So the agency is not the contractor's employer. The agency's client will then also pay a commission to the agent for engaging you to work with them. So this is how the process works with payments and agencies and clients for contracting work. Now let's look at the pros and cons of working as a permanent staff versus working as a contractor. Now, the first point is that with permanent, you have more job security, whereas with contracting, you don't have as much job security. And when I say job security, for perm roles, you don't have a set end date in your contract as an employee for a company. You're also directly employed by the company rather than through your limited company as a contractor. Whereas with contracting, there's no guarantee that you will work the full term of your contract. And contracts generally go between 3 months to 6 months, and depending on the project you're working on with the client, the contract might be extended. But the negative side as well of working as a contractor is that your contract can be terminated at any time without reason. So there's no guarantee that you will work that full term of your contract. Now, the second point is that with permanent roles, you get your yearly performance review, whereas with contracting role you don't necessarily get a performance review. Now, I'm not sure about whether it's a pro or a con in this instance, because it's good to know as a permanent staff or as an employee, it's good to know how well you're performing on your project, how well you're performing with your teams. But one thing that I dislike about yearly performance review is that a lot of times the focus is on the negative and how to improve that, rather than how much value you've added in comparison to that negative. However, that performance review is what will determine whether you get a bonus, whether you get a pay rise. So you always have a target to work towards, and it feels like you have a direction and a point to the work you're doing, really. Whereas with contracting, there is no feedback and there are no formal processes in place. So it's up to you to either push and ask them how well you're doing, or just work through the term of your contract and leave and go on to the next contract. Now, the third point is the salary, which I know you're all interested in knowing. Now, with permanent roles, you get an annual base salary, whereas with contracting, you're paid a daily rate. Now, both of these come with their pros and cons. So with contracting, you're in charge of your pay, you're in charge of working through or understanding your tax. It's more tax efficient and you can claim expenses. And generally in the full term, over a year, you're possibly making up to 60% to 80% more than a permanent staff would make. On the other hand, we need to take the benefits into consideration. So this will be our fourth point. So as a permanent staff, you get all the benefits. You get holidays, you get sick pay, you get maternity leave. You could also get discounts, insurance such as health insurance, life cover. So there's a lot of benefits that are allocated to you as a perm staff, where you don't even have to worry about paying for these. Whereas with contracting, you're only paid based on the days that you work, and you're paid daily, and that's all the company is concerned with regards to payment to you. So you have to sort out all those things by yourself. However, you can claim them back on tax. So there is some positives with regards to you managing your money, as well as some negatives with regards to having to worry and sort out all these things by yourself. Now, the next point with permanent role in comparison to contracting is that you have a defined career progression with regards to permanent employees. You get the opportunity for mentoring programs, promotion, staff development. So this sort of falls within the benefits as well. Whereas with contracting, you have to forge your own growth. And this depends generally on what aspect you want to follow with regards to contracting jobs or projects, what sort of projects you want to work on, what sort of industry you want to work on, or what sort of systems you want to gain experience in. So you would sort of tend to get contracts that are within that range of what path you're choosing for yourself. With permanent roles, you can also get ongoing training. Again, this falls as part of the benefits that you get from working as a permanent staff. The organization generally would pay for ongoing training, whereas with contracting, you have to pay for your own trainings. And missing days to attend those trainings will also be unpaid, because with contracting, you're only paid for the days that you work. That's why you find that a lot of contractors tend not to take days off, because if you take any day off, you don't get paid for it. And finally, one negative side of contracting is that you can't always jump onto the next contract as soon as one contract finishes. So within that also comes managing your personal finance and budgeting. So you need to budget and predict and manage your finance for the time where you're off a contract, for instance. And because of this, like I mentioned at the start of the video, a contract can be terminated at any time because there are no formal processes in place. So the client can end up just ending your contract because of budgeting or because they just don't like you, So there are different reasons why, and this is why, again, I focus on job security aspect. So that's it really. These are the pros and cons of working as a permanent staff as opposed to working as a contracting staff. And I feel that the only point with working as a contractor is the pay. You get more pay than working as perm. However, you have all these anxieties, you have all these things to sort out by yourself. So in my career as a business analyst, I first started as a perm, and I wanted to explore more industries to gain more experience with regards to systems, and I also wanted to have a focus on projects. So I wanted to explore this and gain more challenge, And one thing that I find with contracting when I worked as a contractor is that as you're getting to know the organization, you're getting to know the team, you don't really enjoy the value add on the project or with the team because you have a set date where you have to leave the company. So you don't really enjoy that value that you've added within the organization. And this is why I prefer perm over contract. I get to keep the relationships that I've made with stakeholders, and it just makes my work generally easier. Say if I'm placed on another project and I'm working with familiar stakeholders, it makes it easier for me to interact, whereas I don't have to worry about trying to build that relationship all over again. Whereas with contracting, you have to keep building relationships every new contract you get. That is also a pro, to be honest, because you get to explore more different personalities, different perspectives, and it builds you, it builds your strength, it builds your confidence. So the reason why I went into contracting was because of this. I wanted to challenge myself, and then once I finally experienced all that, I've come back to working as a permanent employee. So if you'd like to explore perm or contracting, I hope these pros and cons will help you decide. Let me know in the comments section what you think about these types of roles and which one you think you're more likely to go with. I hope you've enjoyed today's content. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. In my next video, I'll be talking to you about the differences between a business analyst and a data analyst. Till then, I'll see you in my next one. Peace.